Well, hi guys. Sitting here today with JR from JR Outdoors, talking some deer hunting. We don't live too far from each other. Here we're doing YouTube videos and we're in the same area code.
Yeah,
So
crazy.
I made a call out to Jeremy to see if he wanted to do a video, and here we are.
Yeah.
We're going to talk some deer hunting, some hunting. When did you start deer hunting?
So I grew up hunting my whole life. So my grandpa had about 300 acres near Alpena. So I kind of grew up around it. At the age of 12, I was bow hunting in my own stand. But honestly, we hunted over 300-pound bait piles of corn and stuff. So it wasn't like, it wasn't the way we hunt nowadays. And never kill one with my bow until, honestly, I think 2 or 3 years ago. But then my grandpa, when I was 17 or 18, sold the property. And we kind of lost the ability to hunt. And my dad was never big on hunting on state land and didn't really, I don't know why, I just never had the drive. And at the job I was working, I worked at Tool and Die Shop for 17 years. And I was always the guy who had to cover for everyone that went out hunting.
Going deer hunting.
So I could never take time off during hunting season. So about 7 years ago, I got a new job. And I still am the only person who hunts at my shop. So it makes it super nice because no one else takes time off during hunting season except me. So I don't have to worry about it. So it kind of like I hadn't hunted in years. Gone out maybe once or twice with a buddy, but that was it. And my brother-in-law wanted me to go out hunting with him. And I said, yeah, I love hunting. I used to hunt all the time. And ended up going out and I shot, actually this guy right here. So this was my first buck I ever shot.
Wow.
It was on Michigan public land.
Nice buck.
Yeah, and I was super geeked, and that
Got you hooked.
oh, I was hooked. That's it. I am full bore into hunting. That was my first buck, and I still have yet to kill a buck bigger than that. But that really, I think my brother-in-law was the big drive to get me reconnected into hunting, and just been hooked ever since. So we mainly hunt state land.
Yeah, I know where my place is up in the upper, we only own 5 acres. So we're hunting state, federal. The only thing I will say is 38 years of deer hunting up there. Nobody's ever walked up on me, and I never walked up on anybody else.
Yeah.
So I kind of consider it my own piece of heaven. However, we're fighting the wolves, and there ain't as many people as there used to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people don't go to UP no more. But my dad started a camp up there, and my brother and I got it now, and we just want to keep the deer camp tradition going. Because to me, part of deer hunting in a deer camp is more than just going out and harvesting something.
Absolutely.
That's just how I look at things.
It's like camp life, and that is...
Yeah, you can't explain it to the guy that don't go. Because I've gotten friends that say, why do you drive 400 miles to go deer hunting when you can go 2 miles down the road? I said, well, it ain't the same. And I said, I'm not going to argue with you and talk more about it because it won't sink in. So anyway, would you consider you'd rather bow hunt versus gun hunt? Since you're so good with the bow?
I enjoy bow hunting, and I guess I'm kind of like you. They probably won't see it on camera. We've got Budak Deer Camp, and that's the deer camp we go up to for gun season. And I'm right there with you. If you've not experienced deer camp, it's just something you can't explain. And there's a camaraderie we have. Oh. We don't care if we're shooting spikes. We don't care as long as we're seeing deer. If we see deer, we're happy. But it's just a camaraderie with the guys that are there. I'm there with my brothers. I'm there with buddies, having a good time, having camp antics. Go out to eat a few times here and there. But when we kill a deer, first deer down, we're having heart fajitas. Cut up the heart, and someone's making heart fajitas. We're all bringing some sort of food that we made up to, and just
everybody brings something.
Yeah, and we all bring something to camp, and there's just I don't know how to explain it.
It goes by too fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to explain.
And even when I guess I grew up in that same sort of thing when my grandpa had the property. There was about 9 or 10 of us that went up for gun opener week. And it was some of my cousins, my uncles, And people that I'm not even sure how they're related to the family, but somehow they're related to the family. Like, we just all had a blast, and there was a camaraderie there. And yeah, I could go shoot. Biggest buck I've ever seen, is just 2 miles up the road. But I'd rather drive a few hours and hunt with buddies.
Yeah, there's just something about going up north to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, whether if it's in the northern lower or the upper peninsula, it's just something about going north to go deer hunting.
Yeah.
Because that's what like years ago, I remember going up with my dad before I even drove. He used to rent cabins in Grayling. And I can remember going up I-75, it would be bumper to bumper. It took us Grayling's 3.5 hours, 4 hours at tops. It would take us 6-7 hours to get there.
Yeah.
Because everybody was going up north. But that was back in the day. I don't know if you remember this or not, but they used to sell 750,000, if not more, just rifle tags. That was back when you had a rifle tag and you also bought a bow tag.
And you pinned them on your back.
Yeah, But now, with them combined, they're selling in the 500,000s.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I-75 going north was just
It was a parking
bumper to bumper deer hunters going up. That isn't no more.
If you drove up like 1, 2, or even 3 days before gun opener, it was just a parking lot going up north.
And they used to have deer check stations, the rest stops on the way home.
Yeah.
That's gone.
And every other car you'd see on the way home had a deer hanging out the back or strapped to the top or.
So there's just something about deer camp. Now, where would you say versus 20 years ago? Do you think there's more deer or less deer?
Way less deer.
Yeah, thank you.
When we used to go up to near Alpena, and I can remember as a kid, I used to count deer on the way up, and regularly we would count 2, 3, sometimes even 400 deer on the 4-hour trip up there. Now you could drive up there and you'd be lucky if you saw 20 deer the entire car ride.
Yeah, and that's going across 69 where there's deer everywhere in them fields, and you don't see them no more.
Yeah.
Now, like my ride out over here to your house, I didn't see nothing in the fields. And I haven't seen a deer, literally seen a deer down here since October. And I drive all those to work. I drive by cornfields, bean fields. I see a few turkeys. And the other day I had a rooster run out in front of me. But I haven't seen a deer since October down here. And years ago, like you were saying, they were everywhere. Mm-hmm. I just don't think there's as many deer as there used to be.
Yeah.
But yet they keep selling all these doe tags and doe tags, and I don't get it. I mean, I think they're trying to make up lost revenue from the license sale, but I don't know. That's a whole new ballgame in itself.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm not a big advocate for I should say I don't have a well-informed opinion of how the DNR is doing, other than I know the deer numbers are down. I know they're selling 10 doe tags, and then they got 2 bucks. And I don't know, I'm like always torn. I'm like, man, I like having 2 buck tags, but I also think it would help if we only had 1 buck tag, because if I got 2 buck tags, I'm more than likely happy to shoot a spike the first one that walks out. When maybe if I only had 1, maybe I'll let that guy grow.
Well, I look at it, they should, have 2 bucks, okay, but 1 you have to shoot with your bow.
Yeah.
Instead of 2, go back to the old way when you bought a archery tag, okay, that you could shoot a buck with. Now you buy a rifle tag, you can shoot a buck with it. I'd be fine with that. But this one license thing, I don't get it. And then back in the day, you used to have to apply for a doe permit.
Yeah.
You paid $5.
Yeah.
If you got one, they mailed it to you. Now you can go in there and hand them out like candy.
Yeah, it's like the you buy your license and it looks like a CVS receipt. It's like a mile long, and you can use it as a roll of toilet paper.
I mean, you got to buy the base license, and So now, do your kids go hunting with you?
No, I can't talk them into going.
No.
So every great once in a while they've gone out with me, but my girls, I have 2 girls, so they're not really into it. But my son-in-law, we're gonna see. He actually went out turkey hunted with me. He's never hunted before, so he went out with me, and I regretted you can actually have them hunt with you under the
Apprentice.
like the apprentice thing. And I was like, oh man, I could have gotten him an apprentice license. He could have shot a turkey because there was turkeys there. And so I think this year I'm going to take him out turkey hunting. So my goal this year is I have 3 people that want a turkey hunt, and I'm going to try to get them all out and on turkeys.
Good deal.
So that is my goal. And then if I can get them hooked on turkey hunting, maybe I can get them to do deer. Turkey's a little easier because if you're in a blind, whatever, you can play on your cell phone, you can smell, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's a little easier than deer hunting, and it's not as cold, so I'm hoping to get them hooked on turkey.
Now, who shot the bearded hen last year?
That was my brother.
Okay.
So that was his first time. That's the first time me and my brother have ever hunted together, which is really cool because, growing up, we're a few years apart, so by the time he was able to hunt, my grandpa already sold the property, and we've never hunted together. And so he shot the bearded hen.
Yeah, I shot one too as well. My first one.
Yeah.
My first turkey this year. My first time out this year. I mean, I've gone turkey hunting in the past, but the first day I went out this year, I wasn't sure if it was legal.
Yeah.
So I called a buddy of mine, or I actually texted him. I said, hey, can we shoot bearded hens? He goes, yeah, why? I said, well, I got one right here. He goes, well, shoot it.
Yeah.
Well, I seen it coming through the field, and then it came down this lane, and I didn't know it was a bearded hen at the time. And then all of a sudden, it's right in front of the blind looking at my decoys.
Yeah, that's funny.
So it heard me grab my gun, and then it kind of trotted away, and it went off to the side of the enclosed blind there. And boom. But yeah, it was bearded hen.
Yeah.
I never knew one existed.
Yeah. I didn't even know at the time that it was a beard. It was actually a hen. I just saw the beard, and I was like trying to coach my brother through it because he's done some goose and duck hunting, but I was like trying to coach him through. Just take a deep breath, relax, and just trying to walk him through the process. And after he shot, he's like, I think it was a hen. I'm like, no, it had a beard. And then we're like, well, I guess it could be a bearded hen. And then once we chased it down, I'm like, oh, it is a bearded hen, but I didn't care.
The same.
He didn't care. We both had a blast, and brought it back home, carved it all up. We even did a little a fan for him and everything. So
that's
cool.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Taking your brother out there. My brother, since we lost my dad, he's not into. He comes out, but he could care less if he gets a deer. But he comes out and spends 2-3 days, and that's his. But now that my son comes along, and that's his godchild.
Yeah.
So now he stays out a little bit longer. But just having him at deer camp is, because for a while there he never came, because we lost our dad in November.
Okay.
So.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough time. Yeah.
And my dad wasn't the rah, let's get a deer, and he never really shot deer with us. But we'd get up in the morning, he'd have breakfast on the table. We'd come in from hunting at night, dinner was on the table, and we had to do the dishes or whatever. But it was just him having all the camaraderie with my dad at deer camp.
Yeah.
And then my first year and a half, finally my brother talked him into it years ago. Well, let him go by himself, Dad. He's, but the first year I had to sit with him, he's over here smoking Lucky Strike cigarettes, and what I would give to have that back, because them were the good old days back in,
Yeah.
way back in the day in Grayling. We were hunting up there off the Stephen Bridge Road area. We were back in there on the Army property. But I can remember like it was yesterday, sitting next to him, and he's one after another a Lucky Strike cigarette, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to see a lot of deer. They're going to smell us, Dad. Oh, no, they ain't going to smell us. They don't know that smoke. But I never shot a deer with him sitting next to me,
Yeah.
I will say the first deer I shot up at deer camp, I yelled, and he heard it. He heard me. He heard it. He was back at camp, and he thought I shot myself.
That's funny.
So my brother came. He came out to where he knew where I was. He brought his truck down the 2-track, and he goes, "Yeah, you gave Dad a heart attack. He thought you shot yourself, because that was my first buck. I shot it up there. I was tickled pink, but no, I just having my, you say hunting with your brother. I know how that is hunting with family like that, and I'm trying to keep deer camp alive for my son because he's yet to kill a deer up there, but yet he's gotten some monsters down here. Kind of gets spoiled, you know. He goes up there and, God damn, I ain't seeing no deer, Dad, blah, 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 blah. And this year was funny. He was hunting in an area, and his buddy shot an 8-point opening day. I think it was opening day. Well, he's telling us every night he come in, I ain't seeing no deer, I ain't seeing no deer. Well, his buddy went out there and pulled the SD card out of his camera, and he had all kinds of deer, but he was sleeping. Sleeping in the blind, and the video, the camera, the proof there on the SD cards that he had deer coming in there.
That's funny.
You know, so now there's him and 2 of his buddies and my brother, and you know, I used to have a big group, but I think the more you have, the more drama you have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, so they come up, they do their thing, and they go to town every night because they got to play on their phones. But I'm not gonna say nothing, you know, because I want them to keep coming to deer camp, you know.
Yeah.
I live for it all year round, coming to deer camp, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I seen you went up to deer camp, and it's something you can't explain to somebody that don't hunt. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. Like as soon as deer camp is done, we're all like, we have a group chat. We're already talking about deer camp next season.
Yeah, who's gonna bring what? And
yeah,
it's just that's deer camp.
Yeah, and there's a special bond. Like a couple of the guys, they are friends of my brother-in-laws, and you know they've grown to be friends of mine. And you know, like that's just, we get together. That's what we do. We talk deer camp and what we're going to do. You know, and
then your wife gets mad. All you guys do is talk deer hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do it. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
You know, it's November. You look for October 1st. You know, we haven't bull hunted up at our camp since the wolves became more popular because they're everywhere. You know, and we haven't actually bull hunted up there because we really don't feel like tracking a wounded deer.
Yeah.
You know, and because there's guys up there that I know that has camps up there, and the wolves beat them to the deer.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't take long. And this year there was a 9-point taken alive by the wolves. Yeah, they had him on trail camera. I think it was the second or third day of October. They had him on trail camera, and they were out there hunting him, and he would never come in for a shot. And 3 days before opening day of rifle season, they hadn't seen him in a while. He wasn't on the camera, so they figured maybe somebody got him. Yeah, the wolves got him.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, they're bad, you know. But yet, everybody says, "Well, why do you keep going?" I says, "Well, it's deer camp.
That's where deer camp is. That's where
you know, we gotta share the deer with them. That's what it's gonna be until something happens. Pretty soon, if something don't happen, there's gonna be some problems.
Yeah,
because they're just wiping them out.
That's crazy.
And the locals up there, you know, all them resorts that count on people coming up there, and especially after this winter now with no snowmobilers, because they got snow now, but they haven't had it all winter.
Yeah.
And people rely on that money coming up there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure.
And they say it's the federal government. Well, yeah, it is the federal government, but where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave that wolf topic. People know how I feel about them, but so you've been going. Where about? Do you guys have a camp you go to, or is it?
No, kind of. So we have my brother-in-law has a good friend that lives down here, and his brother lives up in Midland.
Okay.
So we all just crash at his house. So we stay at his house, and then from there we drive about a half hour to the state land that we hunt every morning, every night. They have a couple of different properties that their family owns, and every once in a while, like, we can hunt there once in a while, but at the same time we don't want to overstay our welcome on their land. You know, like, they're living up there year round, and it's not like they have 100 acres. They've got, a couple 5 or 10 acre spots. So I mean, once in a while, if it's a really lousy day, we'll get to go sit in a blind there. But if not, we're taking the hike to the state land. And
now, what do you see different in state land up north versus state land down here?
So when I first got into hunting, there's some property that I passed, some state land around here locally, and I was like, oh, there's some state land. I can stop there in the morning and on the way home and scout this place. And I was so excited because I put trail cameras out. and I saw a lot of bucks, and I was super excited for how many bucks I'd seen. So I set up, I think, 2 or 3 stands, and about probably 2 weeks before bow opener, we have that youth season. And all of a sudden, I went and checked my cameras, and I didn't see a single deer. And I'm like, this is weird. And then the next trail camera pull, I saw why. It was all duck hunters and guys toting their kids around. Didn't see a single deer because there were so many people. Because there's right down where I live, where you and I live, there's not a whole lot of state land. So
No.
everybody comes and just pounds this area. That first year, I spent over 100 hours in the tree stand and never saw a single deer.
Wow.
So now, change that to where we drive up, and it's not like I'm giving away my spot by telling you hunt near Midland, because there's thousands of acres up there.
This is like where I'm at, thousands of acres.
Yeah. So, I go up there, and when there's 2 or 3 of us, we at least see a deer every time we go out. Doesn't mean it's, shootable or anything like that, but at least even if I see a deer at 300 yards,
You saw something.
I saw something.
Yeah.
So at least there we're seeing deer, and I know that it's not overcrowded there as much as it is down here. I put up a couple trail cameras right on the main road, so I kind of see the traffic in and out and have a gauge. That's how I think I caught the guy who stole my tree stand this year. I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but at the same time, I'm not positive, so I'm never going to accuse it. But, the other aspect of where we hunt is that it's really nasty 2-track that goes in there. And 2 years ago, I blew a tire getting in there because it's that bad. It actually racked my steering to where I had to get an alignment. It hit so hard on one of these bumps. So that keeps a little bit of the traffic out of the spot. So we kind of like that spot because I think it deters some of the traffic.
Yeah. Most people don't like to go far off a main road.
Yeah.
No, I got a story for state land down here. The last time I hunted state land down here was probably in the late 90s. There's a spot, state land down by Algonac.
Yep.
Well, there's a dirt road that runs from one pavement to the other, from the river road out. So I went in there scouting, looking around, and saw rubs and runways, and I'm like, okay, well, it's state land. I said, I'll give it a shot. So I went in there, and I made a makeshift ground blind out of logs, and I was going to sit there. Well, I pulled to the spot about 10 after 6 because for a few years there, I couldn't go up north opening day because of work. Other guys, low man on a pole,
Yeah.
one of them type things. So I went in there for opening day of rifle season. So I park, ran a car there, and I'm like, okay. So I get in there. It's probably 200-300 yards in there. I'm in there. Okay, well, sunup came where you could see. And I swear to God, there was probably 50-60 guys. And I'm thinking, this ain't cool. This deer, somebody's either going to get shot or this deer's going to be Swiss cheese if it's
Yeah.
coming through here. But what got me was nobody used a flashlight coming in. Nobody had any stitch, hat, vest, or anything orange on. And it's daylight. And everybody's there. In fact, a guy walked right by me that morning.
Yeah.
He walked right by me. He didn't know I was sitting there, but he didn't have a flashlight. Here I hear this thing coming. I'm thinking, well, is a deer going to walk right up on me? Here was a person, but from here to the wall away, walked right in front of me. So, I don't know, it was 7:30, 20 to 8. I got up and I walked out. And I get out to the main road where my truck was parked, and there's 20, 15 cars there.
Yeah.
But nobody, flashlight, nothing.
Yeah.
That was the last time I hunted state land.
That's definitely the scary part down here. Like I wouldn't gun hunt down here. I would go out during bow season. I've hunted Algonac a couple of times. We actually camp in Algonac State Park during October. My whole
For the trick-or-treat thing?
yeah. So like we'll set stuff up, and we have some friends, and they always go. So I'm like, all right, well, in the morning I'm headed out to hunt, so I'll hunt that Algonac area, and I've seen a few other people, and it's not bad when you're bow hunting, but I would not want to gun hunt because come daylight, it's just a sea of orange. Like, and I know how responsible I am, but there's a lot of idiots out there.
shoot
And that's
at,
the scary
shoot
part.
at sound. They don't shoot. They shoot at sound. So
Yeah.
that was. Now the state land where I'm at now in the Upper Peninsula, there's millions of acres, and
Yeah.
it's state, federal, and paper land company property.
Yeah.
You know, and you can you got you can do anything you want, but you step on the federal property, you better watch your P's and Q's because you can't even bring a pedal bike in there.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they patrol it. You know, you got to watch what you're doing on the federal land. I'm hunting where I hunt now. I'm hunting property that borders that butts up to that. I'm back in a ways. A lot of people. My son gets mad because I got that deer this year, and I'm in there a ways. You know,
Yeah.
but I'm away from the two tracks, but there ain't nobody back there.
Yeah.
You know, but then I don't know if you saw the video I did, but somebody did find one of my trail cameras. You
Yeah, I
know,
saw
that
that.
was the only bad thing that's happened to me in all them years of deer hunting up there. How he found them is beyond me, because I was, like I said, I was in there a good 2 miles.
It's crazy.
You know, but I won't hunt state land down here. I was just wondering what your opinion was on state land. It's totally different down here than up north.
Oh, I'm sure. Like, we've gone up. So after my grandpa had sold the property they had near Alpena, for a couple of years, we actually drove all the way up through the UP and hunted in Iron Mountain. And, that's like all the way up, through the tip. And we actually we would stay at a cabin in Iron Mountain, drive into Wisconsin and back into the tip of the UP. And, same sort of thing. Like, we actually would go the second week. I don't know why, that was just when they decided. But, we were out in the boondocks, and you were out there and you worried, like, man, if something happened to me, I don't know what the heck would happen.
That's one reason I wish a phone would work, because there's been times where I've been up to my camp and I'm 14 miles in. There's no, you got to go a half hour just to get out of the woods to get to a main road to get to town.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if something was to ever happen back there with no phone service, it's not that I don't mind being up there hunting, but I just don't hunt. I like hunting by myself.
Yeah.
Now, when I do hunt by myself, I'm up there by myself, I'll leave a note on my kitchen table where I'm at, and I'll hunt there, and that's the only place I'll hunt that day, in case they know where to come look for me. My brother kind of has an idea where all my areas are, where I put blinds.
Yeah.
But when you're back in there, there's no EMS coming in 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're back there. That's why I tell these guys that come up there, bring a compass.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine.
You know.
Like, I'm terrible. Like, I use OnX Maps on my
Well,
phone.
I do too.
If I didn't have that, I'd get lost all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
Well, we had a guy, he came up there one year, and he wasn't an acquaintance of mine. He was an acquaintance of a friend of mine. He never hunted in the UP in his life. Okay. This is back in 93 or 94, October. And I got a rule up there. If anybody shoots a deer, we all go looking for it. Don't go by yourself, because you could walk for miles. Well, this guy never came back. So either A, I'm thinking he listened to me and he fell out of a tree and he's the worst at the bottom of the tree. So we go out there to where he parked. His truck was still there, and we go out, and I'm thinking he fell out of a tree. What else is there to do?
Yeah.
And he's not there. I'm like, well, I guess we go back to camp and maybe he'll come back. Well, then his buddy says, well, what do you mean? We got to go look for him. I says, okay, well, where do you want to go first? He could have went this way. He could have went this way. He could have went that way. We don't know what way he went. I says, they'll be looking for us. At the time, I didn't know the area as well as I do now.
Yeah.
I could still go get lost, don't get me wrong, but this area where my camp's at, I have a pretty good idea where I'm at without a compass, but I always bring one. So he never came back. We went back to camp, and this guy, his buddy, was mad. And then everybody else that was there said, hey, Dan's right. we have no what way he went. Well, what he had done was he shot a deer, and it crossed the creek back there. So he kept going. Well, that's what he did. He crossed the creek and just kept walking and walking. He came up to a 2-track. Well, he went the wrong way. Well, that 2-track that he went the wrong way on goes about 4 miles and it dead ends. Okay, it's pitch black dark out. You're in the UP, you know.
Yeah.
This ain't like down here where there's street lights.
Yeah.
So he turned around and followed his footprints back. Then he proceeded to go the other way on the 2-track and came out to another 2-track and followed that because it had tire tracks and walked up to somebody's camp. And he come back at 4 o'clock in the morning. All because he shot a deer and went looking for it by himself. And that's
crazy.
exactly why I don't want people doing that when they come up to my place. You know, wait for all of us. We'll all go together and look for it.
Yeah.
So he packed his stuff and left. His tree stand, I haven't been to that area. His tree stand about 5-6 years ago was still up there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Like,
so
gave up, I'm done.
but he didn't have a compass. You know, or like that's what I like about that Onyx. You don't need phone service for it to work. You
Yeah.
just put it on airplane mode and it goes. It works fine. That's how I do a lot of my scouting, sitting in my chair at home. Then I'll go up there and I'll go walk around and check the place out. But yeah, you need a compass up there,
Well, I bet. Yeah.
you know, because you don't hear traffic.
Yeah.
You
You
know.
don't have street lights like
No,
you said. Like it's
there's
not
no-
like down here.
There ain't no expressway 5 minutes from you, or you know. But no, it's different. It's different country. You've been up, you know.
Yeah.
Even Alpena area there. That's some rugged land area too.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
went over there before.
Yeah.
But
I mean, my grandpa had a couple hundred acres there, and I remember having to go search for my uncle one time. He didn't come back, and we're like, "What in the world?" So like, we went out. My grandpa had a big spotlight and fired off a couple rounds with a shotgun, and we were hollering for him. And sure enough, we could see all of a sudden, you see my uncle's flashlight shining through the woods, and he knew where we was at. He'd shot at a deer, and he'd been just searching for it. But it's kind of, I mean, it can happen on a small chunk of
yeah,
land, let alone.
you can get lost anywhere. Even up, you know, I could get lost. But
Especially in the dark.
yeah, I mean, it all looks the same. You know, when you're walking through a cedar swamp or whatever, and we don't. That's another thing up by us. It's all lowland marsh. There's no big mountains. Like, I don't know if you ever watch them guys, Flying Eagle Outdoors.
No, I haven't seen them.
They're out of Wisconsin. I went over there for a bull hunt.
Yep.
They got some mountains over there, and then they go down in Ohio and hunt. They got not for this
Yeah,
guy.
we don't have a whole lot of that. I know. I mean, typically, I don't know, if, like in Lower Peninsula, they call the Lower Peninsula people flatlanders usually.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a whole lot of rolling hills here in Michigan.
No, there isn't. Those whole the UP's got some hills on the other side, but no, I'm kind of glad we finally met
Yeah,
up. We've been
yeah, for
talking
sure.
about it,
Yeah.
so you guys need to check out Jeremy's channel, JR Outdoors on YouTube. Appreciate you guys watching, and like Jeremy says, thanks for sticking around.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no
That was
problem.